You are Locked On Tigers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into a live edition of Locked On Tigers Postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. That one got a little exciting there in the ninth inning, but alas, the Tigers fall to the Boston Red Sox in the second game of the series. Kenta Maeda gets shelled, and we will talk all about it. 7-3 winners are the Bo Sox. They're back to 500. Now the Tigers on the 500 treadmill now fall a game below 500. But the bats were overmatched by Tanner Houck for the Boston Red Sox. So we'll talk about that as well and wrap it up with studs and duds. Welcome one, welcome all. Fired up to have everybody joining us on the live Locked On Sports Detroit YouTube page. If you don't know by now, you gotta subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And shout out to the real ones that are with us every night or afternoon if we have day baseball, whenever we hop on the air live following the conclusion of a Detroit Tigers game in the summer, because this is your home for everything Detroit sports post-game. So Locked On Tigers postcast, Locked On Lions postcast, and of course, Locked On Pistons postcast. One-stop shop right here. Thanks for making us a part of your day. And like we say every day, we want to be your destination for Detroit sports postcast, your first listen every day, wherever you get your podcast. Audio version available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, of course, live on YouTube, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Like tonight might have been easy. You think, hey, the Tigers won last night and they're a 500 team, so they're probably going to lose tonight. And you just bet Boston on the money line. There you go. There's your $150 in bonus bets. All you got to do is FanDuel.com/lockedon. Now, I'm not going to yell and scream into the mic. It really, I've said it time and time again. We're going to start with Kenta Maeda. I think that's the takeaway from tonight if you're a Tigers fan. And I have said it until I'm blue in the face. I think his best days are behind him. He doesn't have big league stuff anymore. He made a career out of nibbling at corners and hitting spots and having that good command and not making mistakes. And he's just, it's not personal. He's reached the end of the line in his career. He's not able to do what made him a good pitcher to this point in his career. He's just not able to do it anymore. And tonight he gets shelled 4 2/3, 8 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, did strike out 6, but he gives up the home run. And, I took a couple of notes about that home run that he gave up, because he really was kind of treading water up until that point in the ball game. That home run came in the 4th inning, and it was a 4-run 4th inning, and it was Ceddanne Rafaela, who we're going to talk all about tonight, because the 9-hitter had 5 RBI. That's right. It made it that much more difficult to watch happen, because Maeda is 1 out away from, again, pitching around damage like he did in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd innings. He's just always traffic on the base pass, and he almost got out of it in that 4th inning, but makes a bad pitch with 2 outs, 2 on, and you got to give Rafaela credit, the rookie, who I believe they said this on the broadcast, that the rookie Rafaela leads all AL rookies in runs batted in, and he had 5 more of them tonight with the home run and then 2-run double, I believe. So credit to him. But again, the bigger picture from a Tigers perspective is that Kenta Maeda just doesn't have it anymore. But let me know your thoughts as well. Get those comments going. If you're joining us on the YouTube, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'll give you a shout out for that, because we represent the Detroit Tigers across the United States and beyond. That's the beauty of the YouTube platform. Anywhere in the world, you've got an internet connection, you can be dialed in to Locked On Tigers Postcast. But again, final score tonight, 7-3. We'll talk about the Colt Keith home run in the 8th inning to make it 7-3, a 2-run bomb. It was 7-1 up until that point because the offense, again, was lackluster at best. 2 more hits for Riley Greene, though, so a positive there, although he was blown away in a big spot in that 9th inning, striking out to end the game with 2 men on. And it's not the tying run at the plate, but 2 men on, you're down by 4. And I think there was some palpable nervous energy from the Boston faithful because, again, you got to get all 27 outs. And the Tigers, to their credit, did a good job of forcing the Red Sox to do that. And it's a little thing, but they didn't give up. They didn't roll on over. But Riley Greene, he had 2 hits tonight, so I'm not going to knock him too much. But that would have been interesting to see what could have transpired if he barrels up a ball there and the game's still going on. But anywho, 7-3. Both teams have now won a game apiece in the 4-game series. And the 2 teams will go back at it tomorrow, 4:10 Eastern time. First pitch. Of course, we'll be on the air immediately following the conclusion of the game. But people firing off the comments, and we'll get to them right now. M. Klotz, I wish we gave Flaherty the 2-year contract, not Maeda. Yeah, my good buddy Jeff Rieger tweeted that out. Rieger, of course, with the flagship 97 won the ticket. Close personal friend of mine, of course. We talk all the time. Tigers baseball, you name it. Golf mostly. He's a terrible golfer. Don't let him tell you any other way. But that said, that's exactly right. I mean, you got Scott Harris, who I've been so critical of. I have to give him credit with the Flaherty move because that is looking like a steal. It's looking like one of the more savvy moves that this organization has made in quite some time. But to Klotz's points here in the comments, it would have made way more sense to lock up Flaherty on the multi-year deal instead of Maeda. Because again, I said, and I probably jumped too quickly to conclusions with Maeda, but I saw everything I needed to see from the guy in the first month of the season. Like he just doesn't have it anymore. And when you trot him out with an offense that, and it was interesting that they talk about this offense. Oh, the runs per game isn't bad. Yes, because they score 12 runs every 8th game or whatever it is, and the other 7 games they don't show up. But so my point being, when you trot out Kenta Maeda on the mound, and you were expecting this offense to cross your fingers and hopefully it's one of those lucky games that they show up. It's just not a winning formula. And I've said that from the beginning. And again, I'm not going to get fired up and scream into the microphone. I just don't think Maeda is a guy. And it's also interesting because I was having this conversation with a buddy, and then I, ironically enough, saw something about it on X, just the hypothetical, and we're getting way out of ourselves. So hear me when I say I'm getting way out of myself. I understand that. But if somehow this Tigers team holds on and somehow snags a wild card spot and gets into the postseason, the format of postseason baseball is different than the regular season. Make no mistake about it. With 3 aces like the Tigers have in Skubal, Flaherty, and Reese Olson, of course, that you could mess around and make some noise. I mean, those are 3 starting pitchers that you're throwing out there, and you've got the chance to pitch them on shorter rest and so on and so forth. But just a fun little hypothetical in my mind. But obviously, at 28 and 29, as we enter the month of June, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. All right, let's get to some more comments here on our live Locked On Tigers postcast. Demetrius McNeil, 2 different ways. Troy Weaver is fired. Thank goodness. Yeah, we'll mix in some Piston news. Sure. I don't mind that. Why not? I mean, when your ball club loses 7-3 and it was 7-1 for the majority of the game, yeah, sure. We'll mix in some Pistons news here. That's the beauty of we're Locked On Sports Detroit, and we just happen to be on a Locked On Tigers postcast. But yeah, you never wish for, what do they always say? Pardon my take. We never talk about another man's job, but yeah, I'm glad Troy Weaver was fired. That needed to happen. And Colt Keith is starting to come around. I agree. I just think and I used this baseball cliche a little bit ago, but he is barreling up so many more baseballs, and that's just going to lead to good things. So like what I saw from Colt Keith with that home run and a little bit of swag from the young man, a little bit of confidence. And the game was on Apple TV tonight, which has had a funny conversation with my good buddy Tony Garcia of the Detroit Free Press. If you haven't checked his stuff out, you need to. Does a great job for the Detroit Free Press. But we were joking about missing the first pitch, because he was trying to download Apple TV for a free trial. I was trying to update the app, and I mean, we're two younger guys. I'm not going to say my age, but I think I don't know. We both went to Northwestern around the same time for grad school. Yeah, that's right, Northwestern University. Oh yeah. I'm making fun of myself, those that don't know me well enough, because the only people that talk, nobody likes to tell you where they went to school more than idiots that went to Northwestern. It's just the way it is. But we love the Cats. So anyways, that's where Tony and I met one another. He does a great job for the Free Press, but neither one of us had great success trying to fire up the Apple TV broadcast. But we're going to continue breaking this one down when we get to a couple more comments. Christopher says, I know that Manning might not be that great since he keeps getting sent up and down, but I think it's time to mess with his service time somehow and just keep him up here and do something with Maeda. Yeah, Christopher, I'm with you 100% of the way. That's what I said, and I feel like I'd rather be wrong. Let me try to say this without sounding like a complete and total idiot. So please work with me here. I'd rather know that we were wrong on Matt Manning and just, hey, first round pick, showed a lot of promise in the minor leagues, all the physical tools. It just didn't play out. But I just would rather continue to give him opportunities to prove himself because of the vast difference in stages of their career compared to Kenta Maeda, where what do we need? What more do we need to learn about Kenta Maeda? He just, again, it's not personal. They are talking about his body language on the mound today. It's almost like it's hard to watch because he's trying so hard. He wants so badly to be a good pitcher. It's just not there anymore. Christopher also says, I think this season is going down the tube. So why not see what we have in the young kids? What's wrong with that? I don't know. I think the season, it's not on life support, but I'm radioing the lifeguards to be aware that, hey, this ship is not in good shape right now. I'm not calling in the Coast Guard quite yet to send out a rescue unit, but it's getting close to that. It's hey, we got a little situation going on here. The Detroit Tigers season is close to it's taking on some water right now, and some of that is caused by how good Cleveland and the Royals have played. And now with the Twins, I think if the season ended today, they would be the last team in the wild card. But that said, we're going to break down this offense or lack thereof and continue to get it going on Locked On Tigers postcast. We will have our studs and duds at the end of the program. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started on Locked On Tigers postcast. All right, my friends, like we said, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, and FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. All you need to do is go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. I gave you the cheat code right from the start, so if you tune me out from here on out, I certainly understand, but you might want to listen up to this right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. For example, last night I got a little creative with the Western Conference Finals. I bet a little on the over of Luka Doncic point total, and boy, did he deliver. My man Luka was knocking down triples. He outscored the Timberwolves in the first quarter by himself, 20-19. But we got the postseason going on right now, both the NHL Conference Finals, and now we've got the final set on the hardwood between the Celtics and Mavs. So have a little fun with it. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every playoff shot count. Don't forget about the MLB season as well. You got games every single day to be betting on point spreads, money lines, player props, so much more. And all you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make every shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The offense struggled again, and some of it, I think there is an element of tipping your cap to Tanner Houck because, I mean, he was dotting pitches, he was keeping Tigers hitters off balance, and I mean, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, and I don't want to break down Tanner Houck's start here because he plays for the Red Sox, but this is a guy that's got 5 wins on the season. He was pounding the zone, and he was able to get through 7 innings in 95 pitches, 65 strikes, a lot of first pitch strikes, and just was really effective. When Riley Greene was up batting in the 7th inning, at that point in the game, Riley Greene was 2 for 2, while the rest of the Tigers team was 1 for 27. So it just shows you the dominance that Houck had over this Tigers offense, aside from Riley Greene. And Riley Greene, I also wrote down in my notes, he scored in that top half of the first. Good challenge by A.J. Hinch and the Tigers, but also just a terrible call by the home plate umpire. I mean, I just think in real time, it looked like he was safe to everybody. Not that we would, losing that challenge really impacted the game, but you hate to have to burn your challenge in the first inning on what, in my opinion, was, yes, a bang play, of course, play at the plate. You want to make sure you get it right, but it seemed like you saw Riley Greene slide home safely. And I mean, immediately he gets up, and if you're watching on YouTube, he does the little hand in the air to signal the challenge type of thing. So that said, happy with what I saw from the later at bats, especially from Colt Keith. Like we said, he's barreling up a lot more balls, and 2-run homer in the 8th to kind of, and it was, I wouldn't say I got excited, but you get the 2 runs in the 8th, and then you put 2 on in the 9th. It maybe if you subscribe to the theory that, hey, that helps some confidence moving into the next game. And I mean, I don't hate that, because again, they didn't roll over and die in this one, like we've seen the offense do time and time again. All right, let's get into the Apple TV telecast, because Word Vango says Apple TV has the most boring telecast of a game ever. Yeah, and this is not me trying to be, I've been in clubhouses, I've been in broadcast booth, I've called play-by-play, I know what it's like. And it's the old, let he who's never made a mistake cast the first stone, or what's the scripture? Let he who is shameless cast the first stone, because none of us are that way. And don't throw at a house of glass. Or I'm struggling with the Saints, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's very difficult to broadcast a game of a team you don't watch on a regular basis. But that said, there were just some mistakes made by the TV telecast. That's just, you got to be better than that. If they're going to take a game away from Jason Benetti, you can't be mistaking Zach McKinstry for Javi Baez, like the color analyst, and I might be butchering his name. I know Alex Faust calls a good game. I'll give him that. Really good hockey voice as well. Trisha Whitaker, the sideline reporter, I thought was oddly very involved in the telecast, and that's not to say I'm against that, but it was just a different dynamic than maybe what you're used to. But when Ryan Spilborough was mistaking Javi Baez or Zach McKinstry for Javi Baez, when he said on that double play turn attempt that McKinstry had, Baez just couldn't get it out of his glove, and like that's just not great any way you slice it. And then he was also making a point about how good Scooble's been, which yes, he has been, but he made it sound like, I'm going to go out on a limb here and really have the direct quote. I tweeted out. He said, "How about Tarek Skubal? In my opinion, one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball." Whoa, no way. You mean the obvious odds leader for the Cy Young right now? You're going to go ahead and crown a top 5 pitcher in baseball? Good. Thank you for that. Incredible stuff there. But it felt like a little bit they were out of sync and a little unprepared in some sense. And to Word Vango's comment here on the YouTube. It was very blah and boring altogether. And like I said, we are spoiled with Jason Benetti and even Dan Dickerson as just one of the best play-by-play guys you'll come across, both on the radio and on the TV side of things. So I did have that in my notes to get to at some point. Curious what everyone else thinks of the Apple TV telecast. Did you have to do a free trial, which is also annoying? One of my favorite shows, the morning show, is on Apple TV, so I'm fortunate enough to have that subscription. But again, it just like there was the Roku game the other day on Sunday. Now that one wasn't as difficult of a pill to swallow because you got Dan Dickerson on the call there, but I mean, last year it was the early morning games on Peacock, and I don't know if baseball is trying to be like the NFL where you need 8 different subscriptions to watch the games, but it just, again, was one of those, okay, the game's on Apple TV. Here we go. All right. Shout out to my guy, Jack Lauderay, in the comments. What a guy joining the stream. How about that? And he is a Red Sox fan, ladies and gentlemen. And in the comments right away, Tanner Houck, all-star. Yeah, he pitched like it tonight. That is for sure. And I got to give Lauderay some credit because he initiated contact with me yesterday. I was thinking about it. It was on my mind, but I know better than to talk smack after my team wins one game when there's still 3 more games to play. And tonight was an example of why I didn't talk a lot of smack to my guy, Jack Lauderay, after the Tigers dismantled the Red Sox yesterday by a score of 5-0. Dang near no-hit it them with Jack Flaherty. And then today, when you stroll Kenta Maeda, might as well take a wheelchair out to the mound to pitch. But Ceddanne Rafaela, absolute stud. I will give you that. Probably a front runner for the Rookie of the Year right now. I have to check those odds on FanDuel. But we got one more segment in the books to go before we tie a knot on our Locked On Tigers postcast, your one-stop shop for everything Tigers post-game news, analysis, breaking it all down, reaction, and that is why you subscribe to the channel, my friends. But don't go anywhere. We will wrap it up in just a moment here with our studs and duds, probably some obvious ones in here. Don't go anywhere. We continue on in just a moment. Today's show also made possible by Stitch Fix. That's right. I love Stitch Fix. Use it all the time. And let me tell you, it makes things easy and convenient. And it's one of my favorite products to use because, listen, they take all the guesswork out of it. And essentially, you can look stylish. You can look hot. I know people are into that. And you know what? That brings about a sense of confidence to boost you from the guy you are right now to get that outfit that takes you to the next level. That's what it's all about with Stitch Fix. You get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget, and they do all the shopping for you. I don't know why this wasn't invented years ago. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. You can easily upgrade your wardrobe with professional stylists that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. Guys, listen, I'm wearing a Tigers t-shirt on every broadcast, but sometimes you got to up your game a little bit. You just give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences, and you order boxes when you want to. That's how simple it is. And there's no subscription requirement. There's no minimal purchase requirement. And they make it all so easy at Stitch Fix. And let me tell you, I've used it before and I got some compliments. I'm not going to lie. And if you don't love something, here's how it works. You just send it back. It's that easy. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. So you got nothing to worry about. All that can happen is you up your game with Stitch Fix. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, STITCH, stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. stitchfix.com/MLB. You must redeem within 7 days of signing up. That's important, and that's why it's highlighted in yellow to make sure I reiterate that you must redeem within 7 days of signing up. stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. All right, we tie a bow on this one with our studs and duds that we often do at the end of the program. Duds is real simple. Kenta Maeda, again, he gets hit with the loss. Somehow his record's only 2-2. It feels like it should be 1-10. 4 2/3, 5 earned runs. Not good. Just any way you slice it. Gives up the 3-run bomb with 2 on and 2 out to Rafaela. Walked a couple, 6 strikeouts, but he just, when he misses, damage is going to be done because his stuff just isn't that good. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Every time he trots out, you feel like the Tigers are going to lose. My other dud is the Apple TV broadcast. I don't know if we've ever put the broadcast streaming platform on the dud list because, again, we're spoiled with Jason Benetti, his first year as Tigers TV play-by-play. And if you don't enjoy the TV play-by-play, if you want to hear it on the radio, that's an awesome option as well with Dan Dickerson. So when we get as spoiled as we were, and you have to suffer through a lackluster broadcast like the Apple one today, that's going to end up on the dud list. And I'm not ready to, this isn't the crowning of the studs. Like it feels like after a win, because again, when you get outplayed as bad as the Tigers did tonight, there's not a lot to be super excited about. But in the spirit of the segment, got to give Tanner Houck his flowers, his credit. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits. That's going to get you on the stud list pretty much every time. And then Ceddanne Rafaela, 5 RBI, the 3-run homer that really broke this one open. So your 2 studs are actually Boston Red Sox players. But Colt Keith, for his body of work over the course of the last 10 games, we'll throw him on there as well. The 2-run homer in the 8th inning, barreled up some baseballs, and that's what we love to see. All right, as I mentioned, game 3 of the 4-game series tomorrow. Reese Olson on the bump for the Tigers. So, hey, they've got a chance to win. And every time I pull up Reese Olson's stats or whatever you want to call it, it's just, you can't read them without laughing out loud. 1-5 with a 1.92 ERA, 47 strikeouts. This guy is legitimately pitching at a Cy Young MVP caliber level. Okay, man, maybe it's a little dramatic, but he's been one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball, and he's 1-5 on the season. Goodness sakes, Tigers, get him, the man, some run support tomorrow. And for the Red Sox, Cooper Criswell, who is 2-2 on the season, 3.96 ERA. That said, anytime Reese Olson's on the bump, you're excited to watch and you anticipate the game because he's got the ability to mow down any opposition, any opposing lineup every time he takes the mound. So excited for that. Kind of a weird start time, 4:10 Eastern time. We'll be on the air immediately following the conclusion of the game. And if you haven't noticed, the bigger the margin of victory or defeat, the quicker we get on the air. If you catch my drift, when it's those walk-off wins, that's when it gets a little tough. Fire up the thumbnail, fire up the graphics, and let's get on the air. But all that said, always appreciate the opportunity to riff about the Tigers. A couple of new subscribers that have come in the last couple of days. My sincere appreciation goes out to you. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit, your one-stop shop for everything Detroit sports. POSTCAST, Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, Locked On Lions POSTCAST, Locked On Pistons POSTCAST, and follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. It's always an honor to be on the air with you. And if you notice, I didn't wear a hat today. And 99% of the time, I'm wearing a Tigers cap, some golfing cap, but that's because I got a haircut. How's it look? Shout out to my barber, Eli, the best in the biz. Game recognized game. think that's what they say in the streets. Yeah. All right, Riepma. It's Friday night. Everybody go enjoy your Friday night, and we will talk to you tomorrow following the conclusion of Game 3 of the 4-game series. Each team has taken a game in this 4-game series at Fenway Park in Boston. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. We'll probably be evening by the time we get on the air. Either way, subscribe to the channel. Share it with a friend. If you know somebody that might enjoy it, go ahead and pass it on. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next time on Locked On Tigers Postcast.